This is the Patriots Drive Podcast.
We are all Patriots.
Where we discuss, analyze, and answer questions to all things happening in the NFL and with our New England Patriots. Now, here's your host, Cole Kelly.
Let's go!
Welcome into another edition of the Patriots Drive Podcast. Week 1, almost in the books for a couple more games, obviously Sunday night and Monday Night Football, but Patriots, they lose to the Dolphins 20-7 on the road in Hard Rock Stadium. Always a tough game for the Patriots playing in Miami. They looked better than I expected to start, and then all our hopes and dreams were crushed right after that, not long after when the Devontae Parker went up for the 50-50 ball, hit off Xavier Howard's helmet, and interception. So it was a tough game. It was a weird game. We'll get into it, but I'm here with my co-host, Jace Campbell. How's it going, Jace?
At least we know that it's not New England doesn't just suck in Miami in December. They suck in Miami every month of the year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
yeah, sweet.
That's the age-long question we've been answering. Like, is it just December when New England sucks in Miami? No, it's every month. Okay. So whenever we play Miami in Miami, New England might suck, but no, super hot temperatures, kind of hard to play in week 1. You're playing in that Miami heat and guys' legs aren't fully under them. You kind of went through preseason training camp, stuff like that, but being in a full game is a lot differently. So it's a tough environment. We all know how AFC East battles are, especially on the road. And so sucks to drop game 1, especially when it's in your division. And that's what we talked about is game 1 being in your division. You want to get off to a good start and win this, but doesn't go New England's way. And, honestly, we both picked New England to lose. We saw this coming. So I wouldn't say that it's a surprise, but I think that there's a lot more of a nasty taste in my mouth than what I thought there would be.
Yeah. Cody, glad to have you here. Yeah, it was, I don't know. It was an odd game. I felt decent about it. Like our defense, I felt like held up better than I expected at points. And then just the offense could never get it going. It never felt like the offense was doing that bad when I was watching it live. I don't know why. I felt like we were kind of chugging along and would just stall at a certain point. And it felt like we would get Miami into third down situations, and it just seemed like Miami would always make the play and we always wouldn't. So that was kind of the difference in this game. Honestly, like if you take out the big mistakes, that long 42-yard touchdown pass to Jalen Waddle at the end of the half, like that was a killer. I mean, that's 7 points, and then the strip sack for a touchdown, that's 14 points. That's the difference in this game. You know what I mean? That would have been 7-6 if you take away those 2 big mistakes. It was just a couple big plays really killed them. I didn't think either team was great today. I think one of the things that I came out with from this game was Tua still doesn't scare me at all. Even with this offense, I know it's early, but some of his throws are ridiculously horrendous. I mean, even with the offense he has, all those weapons, he still doesn't make any crazy throws. It was 3-yard dump outs to Tyreek Hill, and then Tyreek was just the Tyreek show. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It was an odd game. Offense didn't play great. Defense, I was really happy with because, like I said, you hold that high-flying offense to, 13 points? You take away that strip sack, obviously. So 13 points in a whole game. I think that's really good. So I was happy with the defense. They did way better than I expected. There was a couple key situations that Miles Bryant dropped interception late in the game, a couple opportunities for a sack or a pick or pass broken up, and Miami just always converted on third down and made the plays when they needed to.
Well, and it's the other one that's killer is Jack Jones going up for his first pick, and Tyreek Hill just rips.
That was my hot take. That was my hot take last of the game was Jack Jones was going to get a pick,
and you thought you had it, and
I did. I was like,
yeah, it sucks. I mean, that's going down, and you take that away, and you probably go up into the half only down. What would it have been 10-0, and huge swing in the game. And we'll obviously get into it more, but you're not going to win many games in the NFL in any aspect of football when you lose the turnover margin 3-0. And still, if you get that interception, it makes it 3-1. Okay, then if you get the Miles Bryant one, then it's 3-2. But still, like New England can't be losing the turnover battle like they have been. or like they did today and expect to, be in games. And the other, kind of pet peeve that I have is this offense showed very little explosion. Like they are almost like an Army Navy type of offense where, oh, great. If you're leading in the game, that's great because you can chew clock and you're going to go on a 10-play, 80-yard drive and take off 5 or 6 minutes. But when they needed to push the ball down the field, they really struggled with doing that. And I hope that New England can figure that out. They can give Mac Jones enough time, figure out the snap counts, with what receivers, what pass routes, what concepts everyone's comfortable with. But that was kind of something that was irking at me. Not that New England could have done anything, because I really don't think that that's how the offense is built right now, but it's frustrating when you need to make up 17 points and you just feel like you have to fight and claw for every single yard. And, on the other side, you got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, who destroy one-on-one coverage and make guys miss in the open field.
Yeah. And it was the offense. It almost feels like it's either a positive gain and it's a good play, or it's a horrible play where it's breakdown in the protection, a loss of 5 yards on a run play or a sack. It's just, I feel like they either had a 5 to 7 yard run or a negative 5 yard run. Like it was just, I feel like there was no in between. It was weird, some of the plays they had, but when they were having positive plays, it looked good. And then they would have just a negative play that would kill them and set them behind the chains, and they'd have another one on top of that or whatever. So and the situation where Mac got absolutely demolished, his knee and his head. Then we had a chop block call or whatever too that kind of offset it. And so we couldn't catch any breaks. That first pick from Mac that bounced off Xavier Howard's head, I thought it was pass interference on him, on Devontae Park, like Xavier Howard on Devontae. And it didn't get called early on in the game, and they got a pick, and that swung the momentum pretty early. I know we'll talk more about Parker and some of these other guys, but I don't know. I just, the offense has been disappointing all offseason. I actually thought it looked better than I expected today, which is sad because we didn't score in the first half at all, and we scored 7 points total. But I thought there was definitely flashes, and I still have hope that if they clean some things up, if they can clean the negative plays up, I still have hope that this offense can be something solid this year. Hopefully about what it was last year, maybe better. But it's just these negative plays really set you behind the chains and kill the drive.
Yeah, the getting behind the chains was, and that goes into my point where New England's not explosive enough. If they're not getting into second and, mediums and then third and manageables, if you're in third and tens, I just don't know if it scares a defense and a defensive coordinator. Like they're just probably like, oh, they're going to check it down to Hunter Henry or Ty Montgomery or something. And I love Kendrick Bourne. I love Devontae Parker. I think that Mac missed Nelson Aguilar on a touchdown in the fourth quarter, right down the right sideline. So there's players that can make those plays, but we haven't seen it consistently enough from New England. And that's why defenses, are really not scared to play them in third and tens. When you get the Chiefs in third and 20s, everyone's like, holy shit, this is easy for them. Like they've completed this more times than they haven't. And New England rarely does that in third and tens and stuff. So offense has a lot of work to do. I see a lot of people in the comments talking about the offensive line, and it was weird. Me and Cole were talking about this before he came on. There was a lot of shuffling around the offensive line, more than we thought. Isaiah Wynn was in and out. They took Cole Strange out and put Ferentz in at a time. Kajus came in. So there was still some shuffling along that offensive line. I don't know if they're still trying to figure out what pairing's the best, if they were trying to give guys a little bit of a break because of the heat, or if they just don't know, who's going to be the starter next week. And, it's still kind of up in the air for a competition, but that's not good to see, especially when Mac Jones is running around with very limited time to throw the ball down the field. And now you're rotating in a bunch of guys. So that aspect of the offense was definitely weird to see, playing pretty much 7 offensive linemen, and a lot of guys got reps. And so that was another thing.
Yeah. The O-line was odd today. Like you said, the shuffling of it was, I'm not sure what the reasoning was. Maybe like you said, it was the heat and they wanted to switch things up, or the starting role is not sealed up yet. But that seemed to be one of the bigger problems in my eyes with all those negative plays, was lack of effort and just miscommunications and just poor play on the offensive line. Like overall, I'm not concerned long-term because there's a bunch of talent on this line. Like these aren't bad players. The health of this O-line concerns me in general, because we have a lot of guys that don't have the best health records. But overall, there's a bunch of talented guys, and I feel like they got to figure it out. It's just maybe it's too early with the system, but they got to clean this up fast if we don't want to start like we did last year and have to win 7 games straight just to be in the hunt for a playoff spot. Steelers are next week. Then you got the Ravens. That's a tough team. Steelers just beat the Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl last year. So, I know TJ Watt's hurt and maybe Najee Harris, but that Steelers team is a tough team. Good defense, well-coached team, Mike Tomlin. Then you got the Lions and you got some other teams there. And then the end of the season is tough, really tough schedule. So you want to win these games early when you can and when you got a chance to. And it would have been huge if they could have stole one in Miami here and really said, hey, yeah, I know there's been all this talk in the offseason about our offense being bad. We're going to get smoked by the Dolphins. Everybody picked the Dolphins for this game as far as the experts go. And they won. The Dolphins showed they were the superior team. I didn't even think they were that much better today necessarily, but they made the plays when they counted and they earned the win.
Yeah. Cody saying the overreactions on Twitter are hilarious. Max bad, Bill sucks, going 5-12. Like the overreactions, especially because it's the New England Patriots, they're always going to be bad. And, that's the one thing that sucks is you're going to hear it. And we heard it last year when New England started off 2-5 and, they had a rough stretch. And then they picked it up and stuff. So overreactions are always going to happen. I hate reading into stuff like that, and I don't take too much stock into it, but it definitely is frustrating because I legitimately do see, and I hate to say this as a Patriots fan, if New England doesn't figure out things, I could see a 6-11 season, or what would it be? It would be 6-11, right? 17 game. Yeah. I could see a 6-11 season. And I don't think I wouldn't predict that right now, but with the way this team looked today and the way they've looked in the past 3 preseason games, and I know now they're going to be in regular season games, they're going to be continuing to get better and better, but the lack of improvement, obviously injuries can play into this. Like this can quickly become a lost season, and that sucks because Mac Jones is on his 2nd year. We all wanted him to take this huge step of improvement. We still don't have a true offensive coordinator, whoever is calling plays. So this season can spiral out of control really quick, but I think that people right now are still just overreacting. Like New England started off 2-5, rattled off 7 straight, had the 1 seed in the AFC for a little bit, and then it went back downhill. Like the NFL, college football, anything can happen on any given week, and it can change just like that. So no need to read into the overreactions and, buy into them because I really don't think that most of them are going to be true at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't either. It's one game. You're either the worst team or the best team in the NFL after 1 week. Like there's not much in between. So I don't know. And tell me if I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm biased, but I don't really understand how anybody comes out of this game and says, God, Mac Jones is a bad football player. I don't see how. I mean, could he have made a couple more plays? Yeah, absolutely. Everybody could have. But I don't see how you come out of this game saying this is on Mac Jones. This is Mac Jones' fault. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think Mac Jones is a great player. I'm glad we have him. I don't know. I think the O-line and overall the offensive scheme, it's just not in sync enough to where we aren't impacted by those negative plays. We just, like you said, lack of explosiveness and cohesion makes it so that if you get behind in the chains and you're in 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 15 or 2nd and 18, whatever it is, it's tough to get a first down after that. Then you look on the other side, like you kind of mentioned, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. There's a ton of Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds. There's a ton of guys on that Miami offense that are explosive and you feel like can beat you for 99 yards on any given play. It doesn't matter where they are on the field. So that's kind of the difference between the two teams. We don't really have that true guy who separated or made a huge difference today. We had a couple guys who played well, but overall it just wasn't good enough. And like I said, in the key situations, Miami just was always better. We couldn't stack things together long enough to go on a long scoring drive other than that one touchdown we had. And the first drive looked good, but didn't end well. So it's tough. It's a tough game. But overall, it's just one game. They all count the same. And we got a good chance next week to try to throw a win up on the board.
Yeah, it really does blow. Oh, wrong comment. My bad. It really does blow my mind that we're 0-4 against Tua. It really does blow my mind because
he's so mediocre. It's
It's sad, and I guess we can't say much because we just keep getting beat by him. But he doesn't scare me in the NFL. And every time I play him, he doesn't scare me. But they find a way to win. Like they're not blowing New England out, scoring 40 points a game. All the games are pretty dang close, and they're so frustrating. It pisses me off. I hate Miami. I hate losing to any AFC East team, Buffalo, the Jets. But getting swept by Miami last year and now starting off 0-1 against them again is not, ideal. So that sucks. Do you want to get into the Red Patriot kind of talks about it here? Let's get into Mac Jones's injury a little bit. We'll continue to get on your comments, but he needed an X-ray after the game, suffered from back injury. Seems like it's going to be pretty good, or that he's going to be good. It won't be too long term, but we'll find out more, I'm assuming, Monday. But what do you think of this injury? Do you think that it's going to be anything long term?
I mean, I would hope not. We really have no idea yet. The X-rays came back negative, which is good. Nothing noteworthy as of right now. So we'll see. He's going to get further evaluated in Foxborough, but if you guys think Mac Jones is a bad football player, wait till if he misses any time. Wait till what you think then, because I really think people are underappreciating the level of play that Mac Jones is at just for his second season. Even in his first game, was he perfect? No, but like Carlos and Mark says here, I don't know. I disagree. I don't think Mac was bad today. I mean, obviously there's plays where you could check it down instead of trying to get a positive play, but I mean, we were down the whole game, so I don't blame him for trying to make something out of nothing sometimes and give his receivers a chance. And he missed a couple throws, but I mean, Mac Jones was not bad today. He was not the reason we lost this game at all. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned about the back. Back injuries are tough because they can tend to linger, and it's so easy to re-aggravate things, and it's hard to play. Like if it was a left shoulder thing or a knee or ankle, you can throw a brace on it, whatever, but the back is odd. It's so sensitive sometimes. And if you even tweak it a little bit, sometimes that can affect you for a while. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, we'll update you guys as soon as we have more information, hopefully in the next couple of days when he gets back to Foxborough. And I know the Patriots don't like telling us anything, but he finished the game, so it couldn't have been anything that was major, hopefully, but you never know. He's a tough kid, and I'm sure he plays through a lot sometimes. And I hope it's not anything that causes him to miss any time or lingers throughout the season, because that's a tough way to start when your quarterback in the first week of a long season gets injured. You really hope it doesn't linger and affect the whole season.
Yeah, I agree with some of the comments where people were saying that Mac was maybe forcing a couple balls. I can think of the 4th and 1 to Devontae Parker down the middle that eventually got called. There was a flag on there, so we got the first down. There was a couple other ones.
One to Hunter Henry.
Yeah,
on one of the last plays, but
yep.
I didn't see much else. Like Hunter Henry was like triple teamed, but you look around, there's nobody else open. And he had time. It was just, I don't know.
The thing is like, and I don't want to say call out any Patriots fans, but Patriots fans get mad when he throws the check down ball too. Like, what are we doing? Why aren't we pushing the ball down the field and stuff? So I just feel like there's like a double standard, and I don't know what's the right or wrong thing. Like, you can always go back on film and say, this is where you should have thrown it in the moment. Maybe he does throw the check down and, it turns into a Brandon Bolden situation where he just gets tackled and we're in 3rd and 8 still. Like, and I know that there were a couple good reads. I thought the pass to Ty Montgomery was great. The one touchdown we had, I mean, he had to go down and get it. It could have been a little bit more accurate, but Mac Jones still completes 70% of his passes, which is great as an NFL quarterback. 21 for 30, 213 yards, a touchdown, and then an interception, which is very unlucky the way it bounces right to Javon Holland, and that they don't call a holding call. And, I'm fine with letting them play if that's how it's going to be. I can still have my opinion that it was a flag, but if they're going to let it go, move on to the next play. It happened so early, it shouldn't have affected New England. And there was a lot more things that made New England lose this game, but you can't put that interception all on Mac Jones. I mean, Devontae Parker was pretty hemmed up. Maybe you want to consider that a forced ball. Like, he wasn't the most wide open, but that's also why we went out and got Devontae Parker, is to make catches like that, to be able to throw it up to him and go make the 50-50 contested ball catches that we haven't had a receiver do for a while. So maybe that's what Mac was thinking in that situation. Throw it up, go give Devontae Parker a chance. It just happens to be on a really good corner and it happens to bounce right to the safety coming over to help him. So that one to me is just, I feel like it's so hard to put the blame on anyone, really.
I have no problem throwing that ball up and giving Devontae a chance one-on-one. If you saw any of the reports at training camp, it was anytime Mac gets to the 20-yard line, 1st and 10, boom, shot play, try to get the ball to Devontae, give him a chance if he's one-on-one. I know Xavier Howard is a great corner, but if he doesn't get tugged down there, I don't think that's the same result. I really don't. If there wasn't pass interference, I don't think that ball is picked off. Maybe he still doesn't catch it. I'm not saying it guarantee he catches it, but I don't think we would see the same result. I think Devontae's a good player. I think the majority of corners he goes against, he's going to have a good chance of catching a ball like that. He said in the post game it wasn't a flag, but that's his old teammate. I don't know if he'd say that. Say, yeah, it was a flag after they just got smacked. He said he mistimed his jump. I don't know. It was a tough play. I don't have a problem with it. Taking a shot. We have a lack of explosiveness in this offense. If we just do check downs all game long, nobody's going to respect the deep ball. That's how you open things up for more steady offenses. Getting plays like that. If you can convert that touchdown, that opens things up later in the game, and it opens things up in the short areas of the field, like the Dolphins did all day. When you have to worry about a deep threat like Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle or both of them, the defense has to play softer coverage. They have to play back more, and it opens things up in the middle of the field and in the short areas. And that's why Tua, all game long, all he did was throw 0 to 3 yards beyond the line of scrimmage to Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, and they would just run after the catch with it. And that's just all he does. I would be surprised if the Dolphins don't have to draft a new quarterback in the next few years, because their offense has a cap to it with Tua being the quarterback. They're not going to be the team they want to be. They're not going to be a Super Bowl contending team with Tua under center. I don't believe that.
Yeah. Light Shadow says some things are unavoidable, like turnovers in coaching or losing players to other teams. I'm upset Bill didn't do more to get a solid line and a coordinator to help make Mac take that second-year jump. I was kind of thinking about this, and I don't want to put all the blame on Bill Belichick, because the players have to go out there and play and execute and, make and win a game. But it is kind of frustrating to look at this team and look at our first-round offensive guard. And game one, he's rotating in and out with James Ferentz, who is a dude that didn't even see the field with Shaq Mason out there. So some of his things that we critiqued in the offseason, not spending a ton of money. Ty Montgomery maybe is the one dude that you bring in that is making an impact right now, because Terrence Mitchell's cut. You spend money on Devon Godshaw. So, you keep a little bit of money in house, but you don't retain very many of your guys that are free agents. You don't go get anyone that's going to be a high impact player. You take an offensive guard who a lot of people tag as a reach still in the first round, and you don't go get a true quarterback guru, whisperer, offensive coordinator that can help Mac take that second step and he can lean on and trust. And that's what's frustrating. I do agree with Light Shadows here. Is I just feel like Bill didn't do enough on the GM part, or on the, team building aspect, to make this team better than what they were last year. And that should have been the goal. And so you come out here and you see a performance like this and you're like, well, it doesn't surprise me. Like, we're missing a ton of pieces, and, we didn't really go sign anyone to make us any better. We lost our, a top probably 8 cornerback in the league. And although he misses week 1 with the Chargers, but still his GM things that we all question in the offseason are kind of coming to light right now. And you hope that it doesn't, bleed into the season.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a tough game. Gary here said that Tua had 8 yards per play. If you watch the game, 90% of the time he's throwing the ball at the line of scrimmage or a few yards past there, and the receiver's doing all the work getting the yards after catch. So I don't have much else to say about that. But if you think Tua is an elite quarterback, or you think Tua is changing this offense, and it's not that the offensive pieces backing him throughout the season, just wait for the rest of the season and you can see how that works out. But couple things of note here, just some stats for the Pats. Mac Jones, 21 of 30, 70% completion percentage, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And then Jacoby Myers had 4 catches, 55 yards for an average of 13.8 per catch. So you want to hop into the good, bad, injured?
Let's go ahead and do it.
You want to start with the good?
I'll start. I think this is I don't want to say obvious because I don't know if there were many obvious goods, but someone that was flying around the field, making consistent amount of plays, both run and pass game. Kyle Duggar, a dude that we've all had high expectations for, and one of Bill Belichick's few draft hits the last couple of years. But the dude just flies around. He was tackling Tyreek Hill in open space and Jalen Waddle, and shooting through on outside run plays. Like it was just nothing. Like it was second nature to him. And that's the kind of step that we wanted to see. And we'll obviously figure out what Adrian Phillips' injury is once we get into the injury report and then throughout the week. But that is someone that we need to step up, especially if AP is going to miss extended time. So Duggar, one of the biggest, goods for me.
Yeah, Duggar, I think, was great today. He showed that explosiveness. He showed flying around the field, and that's his strength. Like in coverage, covering tight ends, we've seen him struggle, especially this offseason. He's been struggling a decent amount, but his ability to read a play and just shoot to the football, find the ball, and lay the wood on somebody. I mean, he lays the boom. He hits hard. I mean, he flipped Tyreek on his back, and he's always there, and it's always hard contact. You're never going to see Kyle Duggar with a soft tackle. It doesn't happen. So I thought he was great as well. Next guy I'd say was Jacoby Myers. I just read his stats. He had like 4 catches for whatever it was, 55 yards. I thought he was good. He was super consistent on a couple of key third downs. And just overall, he's been the most reliable receiver for the Patriots for the past few years now. And that seems to be the trend that's continuing here into this season, because anytime we needed a play, it seemed like he was the only one that was stepping up and ready to make it.
Yeah, Jacoby, Mr. Reliable, that catch he had down the right sideline where it's third down and he just goes up, makes that contested catch. People say he's Mac's favorite target, and I don't doubt that. Other than Hunter Henry, like he's one of the most sure-handed guys. He's always open, fits in that little Julian Edelman type of role where they do a ton of different things with him, and he just makes play after play. So love him. I'm gonna stay on the defense side of the ball. I'm gonna go with Matt Judon. He had a sack, he had a TFL, which obviously sack and TFL you count it, but he also had 4 quarterback hits. That's the type of pressure we need to see with Matt Judon. And I was a little surprised that I think I said in our hot take segment on the pregame show that I was predicting 2 sacks. New England got 3. They had Juwan Bentley, Dietrich Wise, and Matt Judon. So even with the short, quick passes that the Dolphins were trying to get to, we still got a good amount of pressure on him. 7 quarterback hits or hurries. And then, 3 sacks it's a pretty good day. And you hope that, Dietrich Wise or Josh Uche had a chance at a sack and he didn't go upfield shoulder. Tua was able to escape and, he missed it. So you got to hope that some other guys keep coming. But if you continue to get that consistency from Judon, a sack, maybe a sack and a half or 2 every week, he's going to be an all-pro caliber type of player. And that's what this defense is going to need to help with the back end so they don't have to hold up in coverage for as long.
Yeah, I thought he was good as well. Staying on the defense side of the ball for me, guy we just talked about a little bit, Adrian Phillips. He wasn't in there the whole game. Obviously, he got injured, but he made a couple big plays, and I just missed. AP is very reliable on defense side of the ball for us as well, so that'd be a big loss. But the good news about that is he seems to be all right. Doesn't seem to be anything that's going to be long term, as far as we know. We'll find out more throughout the week, I'm sure, just like with Mac, but that's a good thing about our safety room, all that depth we have, having a guy like Jabril Peppers, having McCourty, Duggar, all those other guys we got, Josh Bledsoe if we need him. We got a good safety room. So I don't think it's going to hurt too bad, but AP is one of our best defensive players. And I think he's one of the most underrated safeties in the league. I really do. He just constantly makes an impact. He's so good on this defense. And I'm glad that we have him for a couple more seasons, because every time he's on the field, I feel like he's always making an impact, and I feel like he doesn't make many mistakes.
For sure. I'm going to kind of segment into this one. Brandon's asking why both of our tight ends are running routes at the same time with Bourne on the bench. We'll get into this. I'm going to kind of put both guys in. I thought Kendrick Bourne, for the amount of snaps he played, was great. He obviously comes in second snap, has a 41-yard reception. We'll get into his snap count more, but I actually thought that Jonnu Smith played good. I think that New England gave him opportunities to do what he does best and just catch the ball where, close to the line of scrimmage, if not behind it, and make plays with his legs and, make guys miss that. That's why he got the amount of money he did. So I'm not against 12 personnel. That's what Bill O'Brien did. That's what New England was known for with Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez, and that's probably the idea that they have with signing these two guys in the same class. So I'm not against 12 personnel. I think that if you get both these guys right and playing at their capability, it's a huge mismatch. You got a huge red zone target and big body in Hunter Henry, and then you got a dude that is yard after the catch machine, just like Cody said right here, that can make linebackers, safeties miss. He's bigger than most safeties. So I like the 12 personnel sets. I think that you're going to see that as a staple of New England's offense. But I will say it was a little weird not having Kendrick Bourne out there, because I think he brings the juice where you get the ball in his hands. He can also make guys miss, and he plays the game with so much passion and energy that you want someone on the field like that, both as a leader and as a player. So I like having both of those guys on the field at the same time, but you never know what New England's thinking with their packages.
Yeah, I thought Jonnu looked good today as well. I think we saw some flashes about why they paid him the money they did. Like you said, like Cody said, yak machine. That's what he does. You get the ball in his hand, and if he has any space, he makes plays. I mean, he broke a couple tackles. He had that one big play down the sideline that he was super hyped up after, and that was good to see him getting excited, making a play. And that's what you want to see from guys you're paying the money that Jonnu's getting. So I hope he continues to do that. I hope we see more flashes of that, because he had a good offseason, good training camp. We heard a lot about him. So I know this offense was bad today, but if we can take a couple bright spots from this and say Jonnu, Jacoby is still that guy. He's still Mr. Reliable. Jonnu showed some flashes. And then the one thing that was kind of odd and concerning a little bit, I guess, was Kendrick Bourne. I mean, Brenton Barnes here says that KB is arguably our best receiver on the roster, and he played 2 snaps all day. KB got interviewed after the game, and he said he wasn't really sure what the deal was. He was waiting for his opportunity, and excuse me, he didn't really get it. He had 2 plays total, and one of them he had 41 yards. And I guess there's a tweet that after the Aguilar fumble, KB thought he was supposed to be on the field on that play and then came off. He got taken off, and Aguilar fumbled, and KB threw his helmet or slapped a water bottle or something and was visibly frustrated. And Jonnu came over and tried to calm him down. So you can tell there's frustration building there. I don't know what the deal is. We saw him get benched in the preseason. 2 plays. It just doesn't make sense here. I don't really understand what's going on. I don't know if he's not fitting the system like they want him to, but KB was, like Brandon said here, was one of our best receivers last year. And as far as yards after the catch, that play he made against the Titans, he's one of our best yards after catch receivers that we have. I thought Aguilar was good after the catch today, outside of the fumble. Obviously, that wasn't great, but you need guys that can create once they have the ball in their hands. That's the downside of why Jacoby's not a top receiver, is he can get open and catch the ball, but after that, it's really limited compared to a guy like KB, or I guess you could say Aguilar a little bit, or Tyreek Hill. We saw that all day today. Tyreek Hill must have had 80% of his yards after the catch. That's just who he is. That's what he does. So that's a sign of a good receiver, and KB being on the bench is odd to me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think that you need to get him more involved in the game. Whether that's, putting him outside in 12 personnel or, getting a little bit more 11 in there. But I think you got to put him on the field. He's a difference maker, in my opinion. He was all last year. I do agree with you where he's our best yard after the catch receiver. He might not have that explosion over the top, although he did make some plays last year. The Cowboys game, the 41-yard reception today, he blows by the corner, and, he's able to make a great catch down the sideline. So I think Kendrick Bourne needs to get on the field more for sure, but we'll see how that plays out. And hopefully it doesn't, bleed into his play and he starts getting a little mental and, starts pressing and pushing too hard to make plays when he is out there. Because if he's just out there playing his style of football, he's a very good receiver. And that's what New England needs in this offense with the Tyquan Thornton injury.
I can't wait till he's back. That's going to be exciting. All right. You got any more goods you want to touch on, or?
No.
Okay, so we'll transition to the bad. I'll start on this one. First guy, Trent Brown, for me. So here's the situation with Trent Brown. Reportedly, he signed, obviously, expecting to play right tackle like he did last season. Then the Patriots move him to left tackle. Trent Brown's upset because he's getting paid right tackle money to play left tackle. So he's had this whole offseason where he's kind of been upset about this, whatever. They bench him in a preseason game for lack of effort. He wasn't playing hard. Then you look, and a couple of the big plays that the Dolphins made today were, you could say, a direct correlation with Trent Brown, lack of effort. I thought he was bad today. He just didn't block who he was supposed to on the strip sack for a touchdown, which was a huge play in the game. Absolutely huge play. And then one of the key plays, I think it was a third down maybe, where somebody tried to bounce it to the outside and go get a first down. And Trent Brown just like slowly jogged and just stuck his arm out to attempt to block a guy. And he just didn't do anything. If he would have hustled out there, he could have blocked that defender. We could have got the first down and much more. And he just didn't. It's just, he had a lack of effort today. I thought he was poor. I thought he was okay at times, but overall, just consistently throughout the whole game, he was a cause of a couple big plays for the Dolphins. And that's frustrating to see. This whole offensive line, they got enough problems going on. We can't have guys having a lack of effort because of they're pissy about situations off the field or whatever. Just, you want to get paid more money, earn it on the field. And I thought he was poor today. I've been frustrated with Trent Brown. He's so good when he is giving it his all and he's healthy, but he's never healthy and he's always pissy about something, it feels like. So I don't know. I was excited when we signed him back, hoping he was going to be healthy, but this is not a great start to the season for him.
Well, I think that's the reason he hasn't gotten the amount of money he probably should be getting, is because he's so inconsistent. He's injury prone and he's lazy and he's almost unreliable in times. Like, if he played like he could every snap, he'd be one of the highest paid tackles in the NFL right now. No doubt about it. His size, his athleticism, everything about him. But he doesn't show that every play. And that's not going to get you the bag in the NFL, especially when you're playing left tackle and you're supposed to, protect the cornerstone of the franchise, his blind side. And so that's not a good look for him. I hope that it doesn't take until week 9 for him like it did last year. Obviously, he was hurt last year, but I hope that it doesn't take him till week 9 to, start playing again or get into the right headspace, because that we can't afford to have that happen. Like, Mac Jones is already getting hit enough. We already have enough question marks on the offensive line. We can't have maybe our second. He's probably our second best offensive lineman. I'd say David Andrews is our first. We can't have our second best offensive lineman and all of a sudden playing down to the level of Isaiah Wynn or someone like that is a liability on the offense. And he's just continuing to get Mac hit and, fumbles and forcing bad throws, untimely throws and stuff. So I agree. Trent Brown was super disappointing for me today, and I hope he snaps out of it. I hope Bill can get him out of it, but I guess we'll see. I guess I did have one more good, but I'm going to tie this into my bad. So one good for New England. They held Miami 0 for 2 in the red zones. They were both field goals. So that's really good. The difference between 7 and 3 points is big. That kind of kept New England in the game for a little bit there. And then on the flip side, New England was 1 of 1, but they only had one red zone trip. Like, they had 9 possessions. You got to be getting in the red zone at least 3 times. And I think that comes into the bad offensive frustrations that we had, is they just weren't explosive enough. They had a lot of plays. They had 54 plays, 271 total yards on 9 drives, and they averaged 5 yards a play, but they couldn't sustain drives. They got behind the chains. They had penalties. They had dumb sacks. They had dumb loss of yards on, run plays, screen plays, stuff like that. So they could not continually tie drives together. They couldn't get in the red zone, and then they, could not score points, explosively. So for my bad for that one is, just not enough explosive plays. And we talked about this, but not enough, stretching the defense, not enough plays of over 20 yards. It was very few. It's just like chunk, just chunk play after, or not. It wasn't chunk play. It was just like little yards after little yards, and it didn't work for New England today.
Yeah. Carlos says that Mac looked comfortable in the pocket today. His receivers just weren't getting separation on most plays. I thought, like I mentioned earlier, it was either good protection or awful, and somebody's flying at Mac's head. And I thought I kind of agree with Carlos here. I thought he looked comfortable for the most part. Like, he looked more comfortable than I thought he would after seeing some of the preseason games. But I don't know. There's not enough consistency where he can really feel fully comfortable. And then he looks comfortable in the pocket, and Trent Brown, and I'm not saying it was all Trent Brown's fault on that strip sack. It wasn't. It was a tough play to read. There was a couple of guys coming, but Mac just got clobbered, and it's a fumble and a touchdown, and that was a huge swing in the game. So another thing, speaking of that, was just turnovers in general. The 2 fumbles lost and an interception. that was unlucky. It was what it was. I wouldn't put that on Mac, but it's just you can't win. You can, but it's really, really hard to win a game when you lose the turnover battle 3-0. And that was kind of another one for me. Turnovers on offense, and another bad was lack of turnovers on the defense. Miles Bryant had, I guess you could throw him on there too. I don't want to take 3 in one thing here, but Miles Bryant had one right in his hand, or Miles Bryant had one that hit him in the hand, and D-Mac was sitting right behind him. He would have caught it easily, and that would have been a pick, and it would have gave the Patriots one last chance to try to swing some momentum together. They probably would have lost anyways, but it's you got to be a little. The defense was good today. It's hard to crap on the defense because they were good today. Like I said, they allowed 13 points to this high-flying offense. I'm okay with that, but it would have been great to get a turnover at some point in the game just to give us our offense the ball back. Not that they were doing anything with it, but I just thought overall turnovers for us and lack of turnovers on the defensive side of the ball could have been better.
Yeah, the turnover thing is, and it's easily fixable. Like the first interception's hard, or is a tough break. The Aguilar fumble, tuck it away. That one sucks. That was kind of, you had a chance to bring it within a score. That would have been a big one. And then the strip sack for a touchdown that one's really a back-breaking play. Like, not talking about Mac Jones getting hit in the back, but I'm talking about that takes all the momentum away from New England. And then New England just could not catch a break. They couldn't get the Miles Bryant interception. Jack Jones doesn't get that interception where Tyreek Hill goes up and gets it. There was another one where the ball was on the ground, but his elbow was down, or the runner's elbow was down. I think it was Smite, the tight end. So there were opportunities to get turnovers, but New England just didn't capitalize on that. It kind of reminds me of the Colts game last year where they had a chance. Like, there was a window of chance to go and, get the ball back for your offense and make a game out of it. And they were right there to make the play, and they just couldn't. And you got to start making those plays if you want to start contending and winning these games like this that are tough. You got to start making these plays when Tua makes a mistake or when the ball's thrown right to you. So, yeah, the turnover part, both offensively and defensively, is something that they need to figure out. And Bill Belichick's defense has always been known to take the football away, whether it's interceptions or fumbles. And coming out for game one and you get 0 and you had a chance to get 2, maybe 3, it really sucks.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why JC was so good here, is because if the ball was in his vicinity, he was catching it. He capitalized on all those opportunities he got. And that's why our defense had the turnover rate it did, was when he was making the interceptions, he was just consistently good at that. And that's why he got paid the money he did to go play for the Chargers now. So, it was tough. Miles Bryant, I didn't think he got burned today. I didn't think he was Miles Bryant of the Bills game last year, but just another couple missed plays, couple missed opportunities here that could have really swung in the game. And the Dolphins ended up making those plays. So I guess I'd say that, as for another bad, was just not taking advantage of the opportunities we had. The Dolphins did that almost every time. And that's why they came out on top this game, because I didn't think that Miami was far and away the better team today. They earned the win by capitalizing on those plays, but that was the difference. The difference, like Belichick said it in the postgame, and people kind of thought he was crazy, but he was like, it was a relatively even game, and a couple of plays decided it, and that's true. The Jalen Waddle 42-yard touchdown before the half and the strip sack, those 2 plays decided the game, even with how bad the offense played. So it was tough. It was really tough. Like Brandon says here, that 4th and 8 play before halftime was huge. It was like a dagger, and it was halftime. You were like, okay, 10-0 going into the half, not great, but it could be worse. And then it got worse. It was 17-0 going into the half, and they got the ball. Yep. And then your defense comes out, gets you a stop, and you go on a good drive, and then you kind of don't follow it up with much after that. It was tough. They always capitalized. They always made the plays. We didn't. And that was kind of the story of this game.
Yep. And
oh yeah, he did miss a couple tackles too. That he could have had a guy behind the line, and then he broke the tackle and got free. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I think they'll figure things out next week. You hope so. There's going to be, maybe Najee doesn't play. TJ Watt,
TJ Watt is a huge one, because
with a torn pec.
Him on Isaiah Wynn.
Or Trent Brown, the way he played today.
27 sacks next week. Yeah, that's what it would have been on. I say however many snaps he played against Isaiah Wynn, that's how many sacks he would have had.
But
It would have been bad.
it's scary too, because you saw the way that Pittsburgh's secondary played today, just like Carlos says right here. Like, you saw the way that they played against Joe Burrow, a dude that led the Bengals to a Super Bowl appearance last year. And our receivers aren't Jamar Chase or T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd for that matter. So that's going to be scary to see. You know, Minka Fitzpatrick's a menace out there flying around at safety. So it'll be interesting to see next week. Obviously, you guys got to tune in to our pregame show, which will be Wednesday around 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you guys tune into that and watch that. But yeah, it's and me and you both picked New England to win this game. And then we had them losing. Didn't we pick?
Oh, Steelers. Yeah,
Steelers.
Okay.
Yeah. You were thinking the Ravens, right?
Yeah.
So we both picked in our preseason picks. We both had New England winning this game and then losing the next two, starting off 1-3, similar to last year, and then they have a decent run in the middle of the season. So we expect New England to come in and win this game. That's what we picked, and I think it's going to be a little tougher than what we thought. Trubisky didn't look horrible, depending on how Najee Harris, what his status is. He'll obviously be a game changer if he's in. If not, it'll be a game changer if he's out. So we'll see how it is. New England's just they got to focus on themselves. So that's the biggest thing, is stop worrying about the other teams. Like, worry about yourselves, because a lot of these losses that you've seen New England have this year, which is only the one game, but even the end of last year, they're all self-inflicted. Like, New England could have done something about these games. They're not just absolutely getting blown out besides the Bills game. Like, all these games are within reach, and they had an opportunity to make plays, and they had a chance to grab the game and win it, but they're not doing that. So they just need to focus on themselves, get things right, figure it out. And I think they will. I think Bill will have them ready. New England always seems to start off slow in September.
I feel like this month you have a good opportunity to take advantage of some teams that aren't playing as good as we thought. Brenton here says we're going to win 7-3 next week. The Steelers looked like a tough game, but winnable, and they just lost TJ Watt. I know Cam Hayward was injured at one point, and Najee Harris is as well. So we don't know what their status is going to be, but that game looks a little more winnable with TJ Watt out. And then the Packers lost to the Vikings. They looked horrible today. Not saying that game's a win. It's tough to play in Lambeau Field, obviously, but that game looks a little easier. You know what I mean? It looks a little more competitive now. I feel like this month there's going to be a lot of opportunities for this team to show what they're made of and surprise everybody by making the playoffs. You can earn it. You can start earning it this month. If you have a good month this month, so you start out 0-1, if you can win 2 out of the next 3 games, or even somehow go 3-0, then you have a great stretch of games there that you can really take advantage of. After that you got the Lions, you got the Bears. I know the Bears beat the Niners today, but that was kind of odd. You got the Browns without Deshaun Watson. You got a bunch of different bad teams there that you could take advantage of and string some wins together. So if you can take advantage this month and win a couple games and beat some teams that people don't expect you to, the season can turn around quick. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm trying to bring some hope here. It's the offense was bad today. The defense was good. Let's try to take what we can from that and try to have some optimism heading into next week. It is just 1 week. Maybe next year, the next week, they'll surprise us and come out here and we'll get a good win against the Steelers and feel differently, I hope.
For sure. Let's answer maybe just a couple more questions before we hop off here. Let you guys go watch the Sunday night football game or spend time with your family, whatever you do. But what is this? Shurya Palsma. I don't know. Sorry if I butcher your name. I'm just going to call you Shurya. Okay. What do you think we should do? Let Mac do more. I saw in the comments, let Mac cook or sign someone. Now, obviously, we can't sign someone. I think he asked too about, getting another receiver, but Aguilar's going to be a free agent next year. Don't know what they're going to do with him. I would assume that maybe they don't bring him back. Tyquan Thornton will be with us long-term. Even after that, you think of Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, they're not on here for long terms and they're getting a little bit up there in age. So maybe what's the best route for the Patriots to go through? I'm always going through the draft type of guy, but New England is going to have a lot of free agency money. So what do you think helps New England's passing game the most, maybe in the future?
I think obviously the pass catching situation. Like, we have good depth, but you go out there every week. I don't think there's one week on the schedule where you say the Patriots have more star power than the other team. Like, it's tough. Like, I guess the Packers, they just lost Devontae Adams. You could say, okay, Devontae Parker, Jacoby Myers is better than Christian Watson and Alan Lazard.
And Romeo Dubs.
Yeah, and Randall Cobb. Like,
Yeah.
you could say that maybe, but like, other than that, like, the Dolphins, no. The Ravens, I guess the Ravens aren't a great example either. They have Bateman and not much else, but they have a great tight end in Mark Andrews. It's just there's a lot of teams. The Bengals, who do we play week 6?
I mean, we're going to play Devontae Adams. We're going to play,
Yeah.
if Hopkins wasn't suspended, we'd play Hopkins.
Well, we play him late in the year. Hopkins will be back.
Oh, yeah, he will be back. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of Deshaun Watson. But yeah, you're going to get Diggs twice. You're going to get Tyreek Hill again. You're going to get, and maybe Garrett Wilson isn't the guy right now, but you're going to get a dude that was a top 10 pick in the draft this year.
Next week, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool,
Yeah.
George Pickens. Amari Cooper against the Browns. There's a ton of talented receivers in the league. Justin Jefferson, oh my goodness, we saw what he can do today. He is a beast. So there's a ton of good receivers. I think the Patriots need to add to that at some point more than they've done now, and I hope they do. I don't buy that they're going to do it because they haven't done it since basically Randy Moss, and that's unfortunate. So hopefully they change their ways because Matt could really use the help. I would just say the offensive line playing more consistent and figuring out the scheme. I think we have players to be a successful team. I think the defense is the thing we need to add to, not the offense. But the offense just isn't in sync and isn't playing like they can. This team is not anywhere near what they could be. Once they build some chemistry, and if they could figure out this system and execute well, and people play to their level that they should be performing at, this team is going to be fine. It's just I don't have a lot of faith that I feel like by the time they figure it out, it's going to be too late, and that's kind of my concern.
I honestly think that until Bill Belichick's not coaching anymore, or not the GM or running, the draft day things, free agents and stuff, which he'll always have a say in it if he's in the Patriots organization. But I don't know if New England will ever have a true number one wide receiver. I don't see him changing his philosophy 25 years into coaching all of a sudden because that's what the fans want. Like, I feel like he's 1, too stubborn, and 2, too set in his ways to finally go out and get someone like that, which I think that they need to do. You look at the Justin Jeffersons, Jamar Chases, all the good young receivers that are getting paired with, young quarterbacks too. AJ Brown just got traded with Jalen Hurts. You're like, it's crucial to have a young wide receiver that can grow, develop, be on the same timeline as Mac Jones. So yeah, I'm always for getting a true number one wide receiver in the draft class. I personally don't think the Packers receivers are that bad. I loved Christian Watson. I thought Romeo Dubs has some good there. And obviously Aaron Rodgers is good. So yeah, they might not be great right now, but if you're telling me 3 years down the road who has a better future, maybe Tyquan Thornton's the only receiver that we could see New England having on the roster, and Christian Watson, Romeo Dubs might be like one of the best 1-2 duos in the league because they'll have time to grow with Rodgers. They're young. They'll be on a rookie contract. So I think that you got to find youth at the pass catching position that can grow up with Mac and, isn't going to be out of here in 2 years. So
I agree with you there for sure. This one right here, I don't believe we passed on Jefferson. I
think we traded the pick.
Well, yeah, but I'm pretty sure he was taken at 22. We had the 23rd pick, and then we traded out of it and got Duggar.
I know it's a draft we got Duggar for sure.
I'm almost positive that's what happened because I remember being pissed because Jefferson was reportedly the Patriots' target before the Vikings took him, and then they traded back because of that. I feel like I remember that being the case. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it right here. What, that would have been 18? Would that have been, or 20?
Yes. No. 19?
I just looked up 19. It wasn't 19. Or maybe I just didn't get down long enough. Maybe it was 19. I'll look it up while we keep answering questions and get that to you. Maybe 1 or 2 more questions, and then I'll find the answer to this one.
Yeah, no, this was it. Justin Jefferson at 22. Pats had Pats had the 23rd pick. They traded with Los Angeles, and they got Kenneth Murray.
What pick? What draft was it?
2020. Yep.
Yeah, 2020. Okay, that's the one I was going to next. Yep.
So yeah, Jefferson got picked the pick before the Patriots.
And then the Patriots traded out of it. Yeah, Kenneth Murray.
Yeah.
I do remember that now. Yep.
The 21st pick was the Eagles. They drafted Jalen Reagor right ahead of the Vikings. So yeah,
and now he's with him in
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah. And we traded back to the 37th pick and got Duggar. So Jonathan Taylor went not long after that. Ooh.
Yes.
Wow. So yeah, I would have loved Justin Jefferson. I remember being angry after that because there was reports that we were gonna draft him if the Vikings hadn't, which would have been our first hit on a wide receiver in forever. But I agree with Brandon here, though. Hunter Renfrow would be a perfect fit with us. It was sad when he got signed to an extension with the Raiders because I was very hopeful and excited that maybe he would be a guy that could sign with us some offseason. He would fit here perfectly. That Edelman role, maybe even better. I think he's a super talented, underrated receiver. I think it was who was it? Derwin James. I was asked about his top receivers in the NFL, and he mentioned Hunter Renfrow as one. And people were making fun of him for it. He was like, "Nah, dude, turn on the film. This dude's gross." So
yeah,
that would be awesome. It's a shame he signed an extension, but is what it is.
For sure. Well, Light Shadows, thanks for the live stream. Cole and Jace, love the show, guys. Yeah, guys, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below. We're live every Wednesdays around 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, and then Sundays right around 7 p.m. Eastern time. As a pre and post game show. So make sure you guys subscribe, tune in, follow us on both of our Instagrams, which is right here on the screen. And then before we hop off, I just want to mention our partner. It's Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is going to deposit your guys' first deposit up to $100 when you use promo code PATSDRIVE at either underdog.com or download the app on the App Store. You can do daily fantasy. You can do pick'ems, over-unders, or you can join little fantasy leagues that last the whole season. And I'm pretty sure those are closed right now. But we encourage you guys to, do that. Hop on, use our promo code. You get a free $100 if you deposit $100. And anything that you guys use with our promo code helps support the stream, helps us grow, and we really appreciate that. So make sure you guys go download that if you guys are in, if that's something that you're interested to. And we hope that you guys subscribe, and we see you guys in our post-game show or pre-game show and post-game show next week. So, Cole, any other questions or anything else before we hop off?
That's all I got. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys Wednesday.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Patriots Drive podcast. Follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things New England Patriots. Make sure you tune in to the next episode and check out patriotsdrive.com for more great content.
We're on to Cincinnati.